Bismillah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. I've been trying to keep an eye on the weather. These are the last days of the dry roads, I guess. Literally got autumn leaves falling on my face. Yeah, so it's a bit touch and go today. Been trying to get out, but it's been raining, so I'm going to be monitoring the skies. Yeah, so welcome back. Literally found a gap between these rain clouds to get out and record. It rained a little earlier, but it's dried up now. And thought I'd take the opportunity to come out, ride a little bit. I've not ridden in like 2 weeks. Went for a run in the morning. Felt good to get out. It was sunny. With a couple of the guys. It was good. It was good. Now the challenge is trying to stay active while the weather gets worse. You know, winter warriors. The older I get, I think the more averse I am to trying to be active during the winter. When I was younger, it didn't matter. Rain, hail, storm, thunder, I'd just get out there. Whatever the time of day, I'd just go run, you know. Run or cycle or do whatever. Now, just with work and just a lack of time you have now, you just more, I don't know, you just don't have the grit to just come out and say, I'm gonna go running regardless of what's going on in the sky. You know, I guess with riding the bike, I don't know, I need to have a bit more grit to just come out regardless of what the weather is saying. So I'm gonna use what short time I have to try and talk a little bit about what I've been going through the last couple of weeks. Topic for today was life and death. You know, it's been wedding season, so I've had a lot of family members get married. 1 week there was literally 4 weddings. And 2 funerals. On some days it was a funeral of my uncle and also my cousin's wedding. It just made things so bittersweet. Life and death are so close. They're so close. They're like dancing partners. And we try not to think too much about death. We try to keep happy and excited about life. try not to think too much about death, and we try to enjoy and distract ourselves with life. Now, we sometimes ignore death because it's quite a negative topic, you know. You don't want to remember about your mortality. You don't want to remember about your expiry date. We're all dying, whether that's from cell degradation, can't even speak. That's from the death of your cells, the death of your organs. Maybe it's the ticker, maybe it's the heart. You've got X amount of breaths in your heart. Maybe your pacemaker, your heart has only got a set amount of ticks to go, you know, a set amount of heartbeats to go. We don't want to think about it. But life is also there to be lived. We're born, can't really choose the state that we're born in and where we're going, who we're born to. But there's a passage of life, you know. Growing up, learning things, learning skills, learning how to tie your shoelaces, learning to use a knife and fork. Going to school, coming out and then getting a job, then getting married. Having kids, retiring, and then what? Is that it? End of the movie. That's depressing, you know, the thought of just living a basic life and then you're ready for the grave. Now, I'm gonna be 35 next month, and I fear death, you know, I fear dying, but more so dying with without finishing what I want to do, you know, dying unaccomplished, dying without purpose, dying in a state where you've not left much for your family, and in my religion you've not left enough for the afterlife, you know. We're scared of death. Now, the pain of death, and however that's gonna feel, that's one thing to be scared of. Another thing to be scared of is, you know, dying too early, feeling like you're dying too early. And that week where there was a wedding, I was celebrating life. I was celebrating the union of two people, you know, who will go spend the rest of their lives together and start a family, start life. And at the same time, I'm burying my uncle, who in his time is Where should we go? Where should we go? Let's take a right. I'm burying my uncle and he was about what, 63, 64? That's young, you know. By today's standards, the average lifespan of a man is 73, I think. Women are a little bit longer, but it was just, let's go right. It was sad to see him go, and he deteriorated because of cancer. And being there with his children, my cousins, you know, it was surreal. They put on their best faces, you know. They were brave, they were smiling, you know. They were happy with their dad. He'd achieved a lot. He did a lot for his community. He did a lot for his family. He didn't owe no one nothing. And when I seen his face in the coffin before we buried him, you get to see their face. You know, it was bright. It was almost like a smile in his face, and he left how he lived. He died in a state of how he lived. That's quite critical to me. You know, I've had people around me who have died while speeding in a car, intoxicated. Friends who have died by the sword, you could say. You know, gang violence, crime, sometimes that was their theme of death. And others died by the way they lived in terms of their health, you know, their an overtake. So how you live and what you leave behind is important to me. I've got what, 20 years, 30 years if I'm lucky, to set about what I want to achieve. Nowadays, the modern standard is it's about money. Everyone lives for wealth, their investments, living that good life, you know. Instagram, TikTok, all these lifestyles, everyone's doing well. You know, everyone that you see online is doing well. They've all got the different holidays that they're going in, the nice cars that they're driving, the nice clothes that they're wearing. But is that my purpose in life? To just enjoy the good things and the luxuries? Like, is that it? Because you can't take none of that to the grave. You can't take your car, you can't take your house, you can't take your Bitcoin, none of that to the grave. And I feel like if I make my life purpose to just be as rich as possible, life could make me a fool, you know? Think of how many millionaires have had to last minute sell off everything and just have closure with their close ones because they don't have long left to live. Forget how many billionaires have just died and left all their wealth to just their cat. You know, like no one received it. I'm pretty sure in this government, you leave something and it's unclaimed, or you've not left it to anyone, it just goes to the government. I feel like living for wealth, I mean, look, it's important to strive to, you know, achieve an X amount of wealth so that you could live comfortably, provide for your family, have a roof over your head, have food, shelter, etc., heating. and you want to have a little bit more, you know, so that you could have some good memories. You know, holidays are one of those things where not a lot of people get to travel, but I'm telling you, if you ever get the chance, it shapes you. It really does rewire your brain to just appreciate just appreciate your natural state. You know, there's people in other parts of the world, and seeing other lands, the mountains, the water, it just zens you out. It makes you feel good. It brings you back to this natural balance. Whereas sometimes the life we lead here can sometimes feel a little bit mundane, a bit monotonous, a bit black and white. Traveling is good, and having memories is good. My grandma, the only countries she'd ever been to was Bangladesh and England. Not even like Ireland, not even Scotland, England. So she's seen 2 countries her whole life, you know, and she was a lovely woman. You know, I miss her dearly, but she was wise as well. And living your life without traveling as much as, you know, we do nowadays, I honestly don't think there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I've got some friends that don't even leave Milton Keynes. On the off chance that they do, you know, it's they're not happy about it. So travel is good. It's good for yourself. It benefits you. But living a life with just travel and travel memories, that's not for me. You know, if I don't get to travel, that's fine. So it's not money either. I'm comfortable. Alhamdulillah, I'm comfortable. What more do I need? Yeah, it'd be nice to have a 911 turbo. It'd be nice to have maybe a second house somewhere, you know, maybe on the beach, ocean view and that. But it don't matter. I deeped it. I just need like a small box room and a bed, just a comfy mattress, and I'm happy with that. Honestly, I'm happy with that. I'm content. I have to become content, you know. Still a couple of things I'd like to do, still a couple of things I like to purchase and, you know, experience, but like if I don't, it's okay. I'm alright with that. I think becoming content is so underrated. You know, no one talks about being content. It's all about more. It's the nature of mankind. You give him 2 valleys of gold, he'll yearn for a third. Is it marriage and family? Honestly, as much as I'd love that, you know, every time I see children, kids, babies, I do feel it. Like I would love to have my own version of myself, a little version of myself, you know, running around, girl or boy, I don't care. And I would love to be married. I'd love to have someone to wake up to every day, someone to go home and sleep next to every day. You know, that is also the nature of mankind, that we yearn to. Let's go this way. And you know, scientifically, the purpose of an organism is to just reproduce and pass on your genetic footprint. But if you don't do that, you know, so many people I know are in their 40s, 50s, still not married, you know. Some of them have been married, they're just not married now. And they're happy, they're content. I have aunties who never got married and they're well in their 70s. And does that mean that they've not fulfilled their purpose in life? I don't think so. I try not to judge people for not having kids or not being married. What happens if you get married and you can't have kids? Have you failed? Like, does that mean you know your purpose in life is incomplete? Like, even if you adopt, you adopt an orphan, let's just say, it's still not your DNA, it's still not your footprint, your genetic footprint. So if that's how it's gonna be for you, then does that mean you fail to live a good life, a worthy life? No, I don't think so. And so it's not wealth, it's not traveling, it's not family and marriage. What is it then? We have memories and experiences, experiencing a roller coaster in Fort Park, experiencing this bike, experiencing speed, experiencing a music concert, seeing your favorite rap artist or singer on stage, and you get that euphoria. That's also a great feeling to live for. So experiencing jumping out of a plane, or experiencing reaching the summit of a mountain. These are great things, And when all is said and done, no one's gonna take from that. That's just your memory, and that goes with you when you die. That's a memory in your brain. Even if you have it documented and you have it on YouTube or Instagram, it's not going with you. It's not going with you. You can't see that in the grave. And who's to say that your videos and Instagram and YouTube is going to be watched after you're gone? Who's to say that that's the case? I read that graves, some places in the UK now, they recycle graves 30 years. So if you die, after 30 years, they'll dig your body up and put someone else on top. Oh, what a beautiful day, subhanAllah. So, will the internet just purge all your memories after, say, 50 years, 100 years? I read that the internet pages die, information is being lost. So, you write something on a web page and, it's not updated or being looked at much. Over time, it just dies, the domain goes. And so parts of the internet are disappearing. Just like parts of the universe are disappearing and other parts of the universe are appearing. So even your memories, whether it's digitally stored, how long is it really going to be there for? And also, that's not going to benefit you. It's just your people, innit? Let's go. So all my experiences during me being alive will give me the endorphins and the satisfaction and the feel-good vibes while I'm alive. But when I go, they don't come with me. So what next? Not wealth, not traveling, not memories, What else? What about legacy? You know, we talk about dynasties, we talk about heritage, family, ties. You know, we think about succession. I said family, is that important? No. What about legacy with, say, your career? The company I work for, every time someone who's done, you know, 25 years plus years, when they die, there's a little email that comes out, you know, just paying respect to them, like an accolade. And we read the email and then we delete the email or file it. You give your entire life to a company, you probably will remember you. Let's go. Actually, let's go straight. You give your life to a company, they'll work you, promote you, pay you. You probably have a decent you know, pension. And then what happens after you die? You know, I've seen people work 10, 20 years for a company and then they let go just out the blue. And you see them just walk out and you're there just feeling sorry for them. And you've only been there 5 years, 7 years, whatever, right? You've only been there X amount of years, and it doesn't really fill me with confidence and happiness, because thinking if they could do that to someone who's given their life dedicated to this company and they just fire you there and then, give you half an hour to get your belongings and go, it's just a false goal to work by, you know. I do believe while you are alive, you should do your best and become a master at what you do, you know, whether that's services, making a product, cooking. Be the best you can be. I believe you should master what you do. And while you're alive, you should learn as much as you can, experience as much as you can. Like, Islam to me doesn't limit me from being able to achieve high things, you know, achieve a family, achieve wealth. It doesn't limit me, honestly, it doesn't. But is that the real purpose of life for me? No. So it's not family or legacies. Just before I move on, you know, about legacy and family. When I look at my grandparents, my mum and dad and, you know, their siblings, remember them. And the grandchildren remember them. I remember my grandparents dearly. If I ever have kids, you know, they won't know them. They wouldn't know them. They'd only know them based off of what I tell them. And even what I tell them is going to be more watered down to what my parents know about my grandparents. And their children, they know my grandparents. They wouldn't. If you look at our family structures, we have contact with our cousins, and some of us are lucky to have contact with our second cousins. But when the second cousins have children, you know, they're not going to know me unless we make an active effort. Like all my cousins, my first cousins, when they have their kids, they're going to be busy with their own families, and when they get married, I can barely remember the names of half my nephews and nieces, you know, from my cousin's side and my second cousin's side. So family, you know, what survives through a family, I guess, is principles, wealth, you know, the inheritance of wealth survives. Maybe a family business will stay. maybe a particular craft. If your family is known to be, you know, architects, or your family is known to be musicians or whatever, you know, that might last a little bit. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, for example, who's a, you know, highly acclaimed, reputable singer, he comes from a family of singers from the Mughal period. So he would have had hundreds and hundreds of years worth of ancestors who were musicians. But your most kind of normal grassroots family, you know, everyone just does different things. You know, you have someone who's a doctor, someone who's a lawyer, someone who's a mechanic, someone who is a baker. You know, there's nothing really strong in your family to keep you together. And let's be honest, when it comes to love, you're gonna love your family and you're gonna love your relatives, you know, your aunties and uncles, but that love is biased towards those closer to you, you know. And love dilutes over the more distant you get, you know. And as society grows and your family expands, slowly you'll start to lose touch with each other. You know, it just happens, at least here in the West anyway. So I saw on YouTube this guy who goes around refurbishing grave headstones, and he found some headstones from the 1700s in America, and a lot of these names, no one knows who they were, who their relatives were. It's just a headstone of the person that was buried there. And he makes the effort to clean the headstone, prop it back up, you know, and just kind of tidy the grave. And I saw one in England, which was 1422. No one's even going to know the name of the person. It was just about the day. I think the name and that were worn away. But that person was from what, the Tudor times. And where's their family today? And a lot of people don't really have the habit of visiting graves. See the graves of your ancestors, the graves of your uncles and aunties and grandparents, siblings. Unless they're buried near you, chances are they're in another country to you, or another city. So, you know, you're going to forget slowly. Your grandchildren and their children, they're not even going to remember where you're buried. So, family legacy is not important. Again, it's nice things, the things I should try to achieve and keep ties for, but if I don't, that's okay. You know, if I don't have a successful, wealthy life, or a life full of children, travels, and a successful career, that's okay. Because when you go, I was in the bath the other day, and it felt a little bit tight in there, you know. Can't fully stretch my legs out in the bath. I just thought in my head, you know, this could be like being in a grave, you know? Just tight, all four sides of mud, cold mud. Worms start eating you, start decaying, and your bones, you know. When I went to this funeral, as they dug up the grave, I found like some bone just left on the side. Obviously, no one was aware of it. It must have got dug up in the process. Just saw, I thought that belonged to someone. And yeah, it just, inside of me, it just gave me this, you know, shock that you don't have long, you know, you're ticking, time is ticking, time waits for no one. So it made me really consider, like, what is my purpose? What should our purpose be in life? And honestly, it's to speak to your Creator. For me as a Muslim, it's to just be constantly aware of who created me and why I'm here. To give thanks to my Creator, who helps me to wake up every day, who gave me my limbs, who gave me my health, who, when I sleep, takes care of me, And whatever calamity does happen in my life is done for a reason to better me, or like bring me back to my reality. And I have 5 times a day to remember him. I use the term him, not that he is a man. You just use him as the kind of dominant verbal kind of linguistic term, him. Your creator, to remember him, the rain that comes from the skies, the different nations of people, the food that we eat, the languages that we created, and understand each other by. Yeah, my purpose in life, for me at least, and for many Muslims all over the world, 2 billion in us, is to recognize who created us and where we're going. And what we can take with us is our deeds, the good that we do on this earth, for ourselves, looking after ourselves, our health, our well-being, not being violent, not murdering, not stealing, not gambling, not just being a waste man, basically. And our deeds of what we do for others, how we help others, whether that's your neighbors, whether that's your relatives. Help someone, take their shopping home. You see an old auntie, you see some old auntie carrying her shopping home, walking, just help her out, carry her things for her. You see someone hungry and they don't really have any access to food, you help them out, you feed them. You see someone unwell, you just tend to them, take care of them, or go see them. It lifts their spirits up. You help build schools, you help build hospitals, you help build places of worship, and just all around, just be a person who's been beneficial to mankind, a person who's beneficial to humanity. Those are the things that when you take, in addition to you remembering your creator, because we're obligated to pray 5 times, and if you really combine those 5 prayers together, it's half an hour of your day. It's really not a lot to ask for, and that's a debt that we owe, and you can't repay it. You can't repay it, because at the end of the day, you can't repay God for making you. Those are the things that I can take. So I got to spend the next the next 20-30 years to get as much good deeds as possible. And that is a complete, ambiguous statement. You can rack those deeds up by creating wealth and helping people get jobs, paying people to come work with you or work for you, creating jobs, having wealth to be able to help people with their studies, their education, for their families, you know, pay for someone's medical bills, pay for someone with school books or a laptop. That could be through traveling. You could travel to spread your knowledge and just to help, you know. Go see your poorer relatives in other countries, you know. We have family and friends all over the world who might be needing our help. Go see them, you know. Someone might be unwell, go see them. Just because they're in another country shouldn't mean that you can't. Travel, spread knowledge, spread a helping hand, you know. I have a lot of brothers that go to different countries in Africa and Asia and just help out with the orphans and with the schools. Do good deeds for your family, you know. Be kind to your wife or husband. Be there, support them through the ups and downs. Teach your kids, educate them, sustain them, and, you know, help them up. Help them up to become better people. Help them to achieve things that you couldn't achieve. Do good deeds in terms of your work, you know. Whoever it is that you work for, whether it's a company or a business, be honest, have integrity, have ethics, and also just help the business with their goals and objectives. Just be an all-round, like, elite level worker, you know, because they'll remember you for that. Now, it doesn't mean you want accolades and you want do it for yourself. You know, don't do it for them to put a pat on your back and to write emails about you when you die. Don't matter. Don't even do it for the money, you know. You'll be taken care of with your salary anyway. Sometimes just working for the sake of just money and, you know, holding that as your carrot. Sometimes you can feel, am I a mug? Am I just someone that you just throw coins to because I've gone and done some project? I just do it for myself. I do it to better myself, to make sure that I've got integrity and that I've become a master of my craft. Help people out. You know, there's a lot of people that are stressed at work. Maybe they're not being trained properly, or they're being bullied or harassed. Guide them, help them out, you know. Give them good advice and be a mentor to people. Those are the ones that remember you, not the company. You're just a number. But if you could help someone propel them to get to the top of their platform in whatever department or field they're in, you know. And it's not just corporates, you know. You could be a barista, a coffee barista, and you just teach some young Gen Z how to be just the sickest coffee barista possible, you know? Making shapes in the froth of lions and swans and whatnot, you know? Just teach them something. And a lot happens with chefs. Yeah, Gordon Ramsay was under the tutelage of Marco Pierre, and today he's, you know, a world-class chef with 15 to 17 Michelin stars on his back, and that was all from Marco Pierre. Do good deeds in that regard. And your family, you know, be there for bringing people together, whether that's doing like an annual dinner invite, those who want to come and introduce people to each other. Tell them this person is related to you through this way, this person is related to you through that way. If there's a family graveyard, do your best to maintain it, you know, the upkeep of the graveyard. Inspire your relatives by reminding them of someone that was great in your family, who did well, who did good for society. Spread a good word, spread good news, and spread good stories of one another. So life isn't just about wealth, family, careers, travels, legacy, dynasty. It's not about that. However, those are tools to be able to achieve what's important, and that's good deeds, being a contributor to humankind who benefits mankind, and most importantly, someone who gives thanks to their Lord, to their God, remembers them every day, you know. The moment they wake up, the moment they fall asleep, just before they fall asleep, they remember them, you know. That's what's important to me. So I need to fix up. Oh, I'm at an angle. Yeah, so thank you for listening. Just random thoughts. I tried to keep this quicker. Right. And I avoided the rain. Alhamdulillah. She needs a clean, but she's still free. MashaAllah wa bihamdi. Alright, gang. Take care.